You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
There's a good chance there'll be a lot of ballot issues on your ballot this November. Here to talk about one possible one, actually two, is Jen Standerfer. She's with Arkansas Citizens for Transparency. Good to see you again. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You've cleared hurdle 1 after 9 or 10 attempts, I think. So with the AG's office, you now are qualified to go collect ballot signatures for a proposed constitutional amendment and a proposed initiated act.
That's right.
Give us a lay of the land of what those two items will do and how the AG changed those a little bit.
Okay. So first, the amendment itself will give us a right to government transparency. Like all good Arkansans, we knew that was our right to begin with, but we're going to put it in the Constitution. It also creates a new process that requires that if the General Assembly wants to change the FOIA, if they want to change our rights with regard to government transparency in the law, 2/3 of them have to agree on it, and then they got to come ask our permission by referring it to the people. And then it also just gives us a little more teeth to their violations by allowing us to sue the state if they violate these rights. So that is the amendment, those big, broad concepts that we want in the Constitution. The Act really addresses the FOIA itself and some of our exemptions to that, and really just solidifies what we have and protects our privacy as well as protecting our right to get information from the government.
The act is going to be a lot longer than the amendment.
It is a lot longer.
Yeah, so walk through just a couple of steps of what the act kind of addresses.
Sure. So the first thing the Act does that I think is really, really crucial and important is it creates the Arkansas Government Transparency Commission. And this commission is so great. We are really thrilled about it because it truly came out of public meetings. We had a series of public meetings where we talked to folks about what they need out of the FOIA and disclosure from the government. And we kept hearing over and over again that if I want to enforce my rights, I got to go hire a lawyer. And a bunch of lawyers sat in the room together and thought, well, that doesn't make sense. Why, we're no more the gatekeepers to the FOIA than the politicians are. So we create this commission that allows just individuals to go and ask for help to get disclosure. When the government violates the FOIA, this commission will be able to step in and get compliance. And they'll also be able to make recommendations to the General Assembly. They're going to recommend best practices. They have some sanctioning ability. But they're also going to factor in whether or not this request is a good request or an abusive request. We do have some of those.
They're kind of the judge of those claims. And how are they appointed, that commission?
Sure. Originally we wanted them mostly appointed by the court, and the AG rightly explained to us that we couldn't do that. We did violate the Constitution, and so we fixed it. The appointments now will be 5 people on the commission, 1 by the President Pro Tem, 1 by the Speaker of the House, 1 by the House Minority Leader, 1 by the Senate Minority Leader, and then the 5th by the Lieutenant Governor.
By the Lieutenant Governor?
Yes.
And what's the reason for that?
Well,
why not the governor, I guess? So.
Sure. I mean, I think some of that is political, obviously. We have a lot of diverse and strong personalities in our coalition. And so I think there is some of that. But also, when we talked about it, the lieutenant governor just doesn't have much to do right now. There's not really a job for the lieutenant governor, either in the Constitution or in the state statute. And we said, well, we'll give her some work to do.
Yeah. Or him, if it becomes a man at some point in time. Okay, so other parts of the act in terms of what you think, what was changed by the AG that you think, beyond what you've already mentioned, that you think was an improvement, or maybe it wasn't an improvement, but it's in there now. So.
Well, I mean, there are a couple of things. So for the act itself, most of what came out of the act were protections that we had tried to build in to prevent the legislature from coming in and gutting the FOIA in this middle time before this gets to the people. We had language that would have repealed anything that the legislature does to gut the FOIA between now and the day the people vote.
Gotcha.
And The argument was that was unconstitutional. It's a strong legal argument. It was good language when we had it in the Constitution, but again, we split these at some point, and so we probably did need to take it out of the act. But we worked really hard to try to insulate this from attacks. So that's one of the things that came out. He also had us remove some funding language. We tried to put some language in there that would have protected the commission from being defunded by the General Assembly. We wanted to let them raid the Constitutional Officers Fund if they didn't get appropriate money. But some stuff like that did get forced out. They were solid legal arguments to take them out. We wish we could make it airtight.
Yeah. One of the things that I hear a lot in terms of complaints about the Freedom of Information Act, and it comes from those who have to field those at local level, state level, is the frivolous ones. You know, I talked to one person who had told me she handles it for a state agency, and she said, and she's a big supporter of FOI, by the way. Mm-hmm. She said, I got a request the other day. It was going to result in 30,000 documents being produced. This was a massive trying to find a needle in a haystack. She contacted the person who made the FOI request and said, if you'll tell me what you're looking for, I'll hone this down so you don't have to go through 30,000 records. And he said, no, I'll take all 30,000 records. So, I mean, there is some complaint about it being frivolous sometimes. Is that just, that comes with the territory? I mean, there's going to have to be some frivolous side of it to go along with the protective side of it.
So yes, but we should do something about that too. Like, that's not okay. I mean, I want my government to work, and I've worked at both the state and the local level representing state and government entities in FOIA, and I've dealt with this too. Yeah. So one of the things we allow the city or the county or whoever gets that frivolous request to do is they can file with the commission, and they can ask for the commission to help them get a calendar for disclosure. And that's going to assist them in a lot of ways because it's going to protect them from any personal liability or liability for the city. And it's also going to just help them get time to comply. Have we addressed everything? No. Have we been able to do that? And this is a topic that this committee keeps talking about, that we do think there's more work to be done, and we may come back in the future and look at what else we can do to help.
Well, the work's never done.
Right.
So, I mean, I think you guys have advanced the conversation in a huge, huge way in terms of it will be a big public debate now. Tell me how you see this framing up with conversations now. How do you guys go out and market what you want to see change? What do you expect in terms of opposition to what you proposed out there?
Right. This is a grassroots movement, so we are continuing to just go all over the state. And our committee is very diverse and is all over the state. We have members who are experts on this who can show up anywhere we're asked to attend. So a lot of it's going to be word of mouth, but we are also right now working to train canvassers. We're working on organizing our grassroots interests. We have a lot of volunteers who want to help us circulate petitions. And so we're working with them on trainings, getting our petitions finalized, and we're going to put those out as soon as possible, probably within the next week or so. And then, we also are fundraising. And once we're at a point for a campaign, we'll devise that. But right now, we have so much broad support for the idea of what we're doing that our focus is really just organizing those folks to get their signatures on paper.
Have you heard from anyone that's going to oppose this or organized to oppose this?
Those conversations I think are mostly having in back rooms that we're not allowed into right now.
You may never.
We may never.
Maybe you could FOIA your way into it. So.
No, I mean, we've heard general concern. I mean, most of what we've heard is public officers who are worried and feel uncomfortable because this is different. They're going to have to do something different. And even the guys that support it and support FOIA are just a little nervous, right? They're just a little nervous about different rules for meetings. But we worked really, really hard to make sure that we focused on preserving the citizens' right to access to information while also making sure that it's workable, right? Like it's not going to be a public meeting if you're just sitting down and having coffee with someone who happens to be on a committee with you.
Some of the legislators in the special session that pushed back on the changes proposed for FOI, they actually, they stood up and said, no, we want to change on this. Are some of them part of your coalition, or are some of them part of this group that's uncomfortable with some of the changes?
Well, I mean, Senator Clark Tucker is on our committee.
I think he was already there to begin with.
Right.
So I'm talking about some of them that maybe from the Republican persuasion that weren't, necessarily, they didn't, until they saw the bill in the special session, they had some reaction.
I mean, honestly, this is so hard for me to answer because a lot of the communication we're getting is from folks who frankly are afraid of retribution right now.
Yeah.
A lot of folks, because of the way we are doing politics right now, are really concerned that if they're honest with the people and open about their support for this movement, that there will be political retribution taken against them.
All right, we got to wrap it up there. You guys got to go collect over 90,000 signatures for the amendment, 72,000, more than 72,000 for the initiated act. Good luck to you.
Thank
we
you.
will see where it goes from there. We'll have you back for a debate when we find out who's formally going to oppose this. All right.
Sounds great.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you so much.
All right.